being on a big radio station.
No, yeah, Wayne. I mean,
decision.
Yeah, that is, and honestly, I was gonna say too is like maybe like 5 years ago, I worked at this one store and I listened to this play-by-play podcast, and I think it was Joe got it. I think is how you say his name, and you were on it, so I've heard a little bit of your story, and to see your rise from now, I think is pretty awesome. So, kind of another question I'm sure you've gotten a lot now is, how was it calling that Albert Pujols 700th home run on Apple TV Plus? I mean, like, is it something that you prepared for, or something that or kind of just let it happen? How was that whole situation?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm in New Jersey right now because we're getting all of our preseason stuff ready to go for the Apple games coming up for this year. So I was just talking to the producer who's going to be working with me this season, and he was the one that did the Pujols game with me last year. And I said, I've done a lot of interviews about.
All right, welcome to WARR Media Bears Recap. I am Saul Rodriguez, joined by my WARR colleague Joe Tanksley, and free agency is officially underway. The Bears are going off, honestly. I mean, you better watch your back, Joe, because I think the Bears might sign you without you even knowing. They might. They honestly might.
maybe last year I had a shot, but with some of the guys that they put out there, but like this year. They kind of stepping up in class a little bit, and it's been kind of interesting to see who the Bears have signed and who they have not signed, and I think it's kind of telling, for how Ryan Poles is going to pursue rebuilding this team, with the decisions that he's made so far in free agency. So some head scratchers and a lot of questions to asked and answered, but so far so good. I think he's got some good.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Open Run, your one-stop shop for all things pertaining to hoop-related matters here at WARR Media. My name is Gabriel Wilkins, and I'm joined by my running mate, as always, and fellow co-host, and Josh Hicks, to talk on all of the major matters and storylines that have taken shape across the basketball universe at the top of another week. How are you feeling after experiencing all the twists and turns that have come to define March Madness thus far? A lot of upsets, a lot of stunners. Brackets busted.
I'm glad I didn't do a bracket. That's all, because I would have got smashed. Like it would have been real bad for me. But it was exciting, bro. Exciting week of basketball so far. March Madness definitely did not disappoint, as obviously we'll allude to throughout the show. Outside of that, man, I am good to go, and I'm excited to see what the rest of this basketball world has to offer within this next week.
Oh, for sure. And I find it funny you say you glad you didn't fill out a bracket. Now you understand why when we had our special guest Steve Parham, why I was real reserved about sharing my Final Four picks, even though 3 out of 4 of them are still in the tournament. Right. This is one of those tournaments where, just looking at the bracket on Selection Sunday, you could tell that 2 teams that we'll discuss momentarily had to touch.
All right, welcome to our WARR Media Super Bowl special, where we will take a look at the 57th edition, featuring the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, who are in their 4th Super Bowl in franchise history, and the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, who are in the big game for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. I am Saul Rodriguez, along with my WARR colleagues, Ken Davis, who you can also see on NBC Sports Chicago's Under Center podcast, Joe Tanksley, who you might have seen on our Bears pre- and post-game coverage all season long, and our guest of honor today, anchor of Philadelphia's KYW News Radio, we have Jay Scott Smith. Thanks for coming on, Jay. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
And Ken, how you doing today, man?
I'm well, man. How are you all doing?
Good. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm excited to get through this weekend.
Yes, sir. Super Bowl. It feels like the holiday, right? It's almost like you know, you get through January and you get this week, and it's like, it's like Christmas all over again. You got all these things going on. So we'll get right into it, man. I'm going to start with Jay, obviously being our Philadelphia representative, man. So, you got a lot of the talking points this week have been injuries, right? Whether it's Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts, obviously, with it being his shoulder. There's a great piece from Sharp Football Analysis, where they talk about how the shoulder has affected his play. And there's been a slight increase in the inaccuracy of his throws as well as his rushing efficiency. But I wanted to get your opinion. Like, you think it's going to be a big deal on Sunday, or is it one of those things that's being made a big deal for no reason?
If this had been like a week or two after the shoulder injury, it would probably be a